Coming up on MilCyberSync, the Army employing AI, quantum computing, and other advanced technology as it prepares for a new era of warfare.
Also ahead, a new, smarter ransomware. More on the Lilith threat. We've got those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync Podcast with Nick Thomas and Layla Gouland.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync Podcast, reporting on the latest events in cyber news. I'm Layla Gouland with your host, Nick Thomas. Great to see you.
Good to see you too, Layla. How are you doing this week?
Doing just great. Yeah, the week went by so fast. Here we are in the middle of July.
All right, it is a hot one, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is. All right, folks, just a reminder, if you are listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, click on that notification bell for our latest posts.
All right, let's get started. Well, Layla, how about synthetic blood, quantum computing, or detecting chronic illness? That's just some of the things the Army wants to do to dramatically change the way it provides healthcare to soldiers. Army Futures Command is charged with synchronizing the service's modernization efforts and plan to update its health system and overall approach to medicine by 2035. The goal of the strategy is to fundamentally transform the Army healthcare system to one that integrates autonomous technologies and predictive artificial intelligence tools to improve decision making. Technical advancements will focus on biotechnologies that will improve human form or functioning in excess of what is necessary to restore or sustain health. This includes investments in genetic manipulation, like genome editing, as well as developing methods that disrupt biological processes, biosensors, and informatics and robotics. How about that, Layla?
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Well, the Army isn't the only military branch upping its tech game. The Marines are also looking to improve intelligence and AI tools for more rapid decision making. Officials say the Corps must continue to transform to prepare for future potential fights against highly advanced adversaries like China and Russia. Over the last 6 months, the Marine Corps has spent a lot of time working on creating a better, more networked intelligence sharing concept. One of the biggest challenges will be empowering commanders closer to the front lines, not only with better intelligence, but also new AI software tools to advise and suggest courses of action, similar to how a staff of junior officers and analysts might advise a commander. Nick.
The University of Florida and the CIA have entered an agreement to study how artificial intelligence and machine learning applications can be used to detect and deter malicious agents that infiltrate computer networks. One area of research will be on reinforcement learning, which attempts to mimic how humans learn through trial and error. The goal is to revolutionize the way the world thinks about cybersecurity and provide insights in technologies that could better protect data and strengthen security across both the government and the private sectors. The Florida Institute for National Security was launched in May with the goal of taking a leading role in multidisciplinary research on national security through long-term partnerships with industry, academia, and government that lead to commercial products and spin-off companies. Layla?
In remarks directed to the FCC, CISA Director Jen Easterly has summarized the concerns of Internet service providers, noting they shouldn't stop the Commission from considering a regulatory approach. CISA's comments assert the agency's position as the sector risk management agency for the information technology and communications sectors. But CISA, under the Department of Homeland Security, is not a regulatory agency. Regulatory authority for the security of information and communications technology, particularly for cloud service providers, is still a contested space. Easterly says the FCC should determine which authorities it could use domestically to address the gaps left unfilled by voluntary approaches. She specifically noted the Government Accountability Office's recommendation that the Commission could use its regulatory authority to drive transparency by requiring the collection of data on cyber incidents. Nick?
Well, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission warned this week that it will crack down on tech companies' illegal use and sharing of highly sensitive data and false claims about data anonymization. The sensitive nature of information about users' health and their precise whereabouts has prompted the agency to caution against opaque practices in the shadowy ad tech and data broker ecosystem, with consumers having little to no knowledge of how their personal data is harvested, used, and processed. What's more, mobile apps are known to embed software development kits that claim to collect and share anonymized user information with third parties, including data aggregators that gather such data from myriad sources and then sell access to it. To that end, the Consumer Protection Authority said it intends to vigorously enforce the law should it uncover cases where location, health, or other sensitive data are exploited for profit or other ulterior motives. Layla?
Well, a former CIA programmer faces more than 10 years in prison after being found guilty of espionage. The 33-year-old is responsible for the 2017 leak of the spy agency's most valuable hacking tools to WikiLeaks. During this year at the CIA, he worked for its elite hacking unit when he quietly took the Vault 7 tools it uses to break into target computer and technology systems and sent them to the anti-secrecy group after quitting his job. Vault 7 was a collection of malware, viruses, trojans, and zero-day exploits that he exposed to foreign intelligence groups, hackers, and cyber extortionists around the world. The U.S. government then moved to indict WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange on espionage charges. Assange is currently in Britain fighting extradition to the U.S. Nick.
Aerojet Rocketdyne has paid a $9 million settlement after allegations that it misrepresented its compliance with U.S. government security requirements. The El Segundo, California-based company is accused of violating the False Claims Act. A former employee filed a claim under the Department of Justice's False Claims Act Civil Cyber Defense Initiative. The initiative targets those who put U.S. information systems at risk by knowingly misrepresenting their cybersecurity protocols. It also seeks out those who knowingly offer deficient cybersecurity products and services or fail to report data breaches. Aerodyne is a rocket contractor that provides products and services to the Department of Defense and NASA, among other government customers. This was the first case in which a former employee attempted to bring action on a government's behalf for allegedly cybersecurity fraud. The former employee filed the lawsuit under the False Claims Act's whistleblower provisions, which typically awards the plaintiff up to 30% of the damages. Layla?
Well, with a single username and password, veterans can now access services through the Maine Veterans Affairs Department website. Login.gov was launched in 2017 to function as a single credentialing portal for citizens and other users interacting with the government through agencies' websites and apps. Rather than require users to create unique logins for every service, Login.gov would allow people to create a single account that could be reused infinitely across the federal government. Three major VA service portals, va.gov, My Health eVet, and the VA Health and Benefits mobile app can now be logged into using credentials through the General Services Administration's single sign-on product, Login.gov. Well, VA officials also plan to integrate the e-benefits portal, that is, later this year, along with other mobile apps. They also noted ongoing efforts to move more services to the central va.gov homepage, which will then be accessible through that site using login.gov credentials. Well, before we go to break, if you're still listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, click on that notification bell for our latest posts related to everything military, cyber, and cyber security.
When we come back, Congress wanting a deeper dive into SolarWinds after the break.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Accelio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at accelio.com.
Welcome back. Security researchers with threat intelligence firm Cyble have warned organizations about 3 new ransomware families named Lilith, Red Alert, and Omega. Written in C and C++ and targeting 64-bit Windows systems, Lilith appends the .lilith extension to the encrypted files, after which it drops a ransom note on the system to demand a payment. The ransomware operators also steal victim data to perform double extortion. The ransomware features a hard-coded list of processes that it searches for once it is executed on a victim's machine, and terminates any of those found running to ensure they would not block its access to the files targeted for encryption. Targeted processes include those for Outlook, Thunderbird, Firefox, SQL, Steam, and more. The threat actor also threatens to make the victim's data public if the ransom is not paid before the deadline. The ransom note also includes a link to a Tor domain that the attackers use as their leak site. Layla.
Microsoft has disclosed that a large-scale phishing campaign targeted more than 10,000 organizations since September of last year by hijacking Office 365's authentication process, even on accounts secured with multi-factor authentication. The intrusions entailed setting up adversary-in-the-middle phishing sites, wherein the attacker deploys a proxy server between a potential victim and the target website so that recipients of a phishing email are redirected to look-alike landing pages designed to capture credentials and MFA information. Once in possession of this information, the attackers injected the cookies into their own browsers to circumvent the authentication process, regardless of whether the victim had enabled MFA protections. Well, to protect against these phishing emails, organizations need to train employees how to identify and report phishing and should test them regularly with simulated phishing attacks. Nick.
A key lawmaker on the House Homeland Security Committee wants more details on what was breached and what was lost when the SolarWinds Orion platform was compromised in a supply chain attack. Representative Richie Torres of New York is the vice chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee and introduced a bill that would task CISA with a report detailing the impact of the SolarWinds hack on federal information systems, federal agencies, and other critical infrastructure. Among other things, Torres wants CISA to report on which systems were accessed and compromised by hackers, what information was exploited, exfiltrated, or altered, and whether ongoing repercussions pose threats to national security. The Departments of Justice, Treasury, Commerce and Energy, and the National Institutes of Health were acknowledged targets of the exploit, but government agencies have not acknowledged the level of damage done to their networks, the extent of the penetration, and exactly what secrets were stolen. Layla?
Well, a new public-private body within the Department of Homeland Security says it's done talking about the SolarWinds incident. An executive order mandate came in response to the intrusion event's compromise of several federal agencies and high-profile tech companies. Now, the Undersecretary for Policy at DHS says they have fully complied with the executive order. DHS is now prioritizing the study of vulnerabilities and remediation efforts related to the open source software library called Log4j. The main recommendation of the report is that organizations continue to exercise vigilance regarding Log4j for years to come. It also suggested the DHS Secretary explore the feasibility of establishing a software security risk assessment center of excellence. Nick.
Security researchers have uncovered yet another vulnerability affecting numerous older AMD and Intel microprocessors that could bypass current defenses and result in Spectre-based speculative execution attacks. It's dubbed Retbleed. It's the latest addition to a class of Spectre attacks known as Spectre Bti, which exploit the side effects of an optimization technique called speculative execution. Speculative execution attempts to fill the instruction pipeline of a program by predicting which instruction will be executed next in order to gain a performance boost. While safeguards like Retbleed, also known as return trampoline, have been devised to prevent branch target injection, Retbleed is designed to get around this countermeasure and achieve speculative code execution. Windows operating systems uses IBRS by default, so no update is required. Layla?
Well, a fake LinkedIn job offer was the reason behind Axie Infinity's $600 million hack. An investigation by digital assets-focused outlet The Block said that while the U.S. government attributed the attack to the North Korean hacker group Lazarus, full details of how the exploit was executed had not been disclosed. According to two unnamed people with direct knowledge of the matter, a senior engineer at Axie Infinity was tricked into applying for a job at a non-existent company. The message with the fake job offer contained a PDF that, once opened, would have delivered spyware that infected Ronin, the Ethereum-linked sidechain upon which Axie Infinity was based. The malware would have then enabled hackers to attack and take over 4 out of 9 validators on the Ronin network. According to security experts, proactive approaches such as content disarm and reconstruction technology is far more efficient and cost-effective than relying on a reactive approach. Nick.
Japanese video game publisher Bandai Namco has confirmed being hit by a cyber attack that forced it to disconnect some systems from its network. Bandai Namco is known for numerous popular video games such as Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Gundam, and of course the infamous Pac-Man. The Japanese company appears to have fallen victim to the Black Cat ransomware gang, which recently claimed to have compromised Bandai Namco's servers. The video game publisher said it would share additional information on the incident as the investigation progresses and that it plans to improve cybersecurity across the Bandai Namco group. Layla?
Well, finally, the National Security Agency has established an educational partnership agreement with Mercyhurst University in an effort to set a foundation to support education efforts for students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as well as in language and other skills. Following the establishment of the EPA, seniors from Mercyhurst University's Intelligence Studies program have been working with Academic Engagement's Intelligence Analyst Focused Area Liaison program to conduct research and complete their capstone project on foreign social media campaigns designed to influence U.S. audiences. The partnership represents the future of NSA's hiring initiative for the next generation of intelligence analysts. Nick.
Thanks, Layla. If you're in the car listening and would rather watch, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. Find us at Military Cyber Professionals Association or MilCyber.org for all our content related to all things military, cyber, and cybersecurity. Be sure to like and subscribe and click on that notification bell for our latest posts.
All right, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of Nick and myself, thank you so much for watching and listening. You are now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you again next time.
This has been the MilCyberSync Podcast, brought to you by the Military Cyber Professionals Association. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube, click on the notification bell for our latest posts.